Surface Season 2, Episode 6, begins with Sophie confiding in James about her real identity and ends on a cliffhanger with massive implications for the future. The latest episode of what is arguably one of Apple TV+'s best shows dives into the aftermath of what happened after Henry Huntley informed his family that Sophie is his daughter. Instead of meeting Sophie and explaining why he hadn't been part of her life, William sent Richard to pay Sophie off so she could stay away from his family. Reeling from her encounter with Richard, Sophie crashes Grace and Quinn's party, hoping that she will get some answers from William. However, the story that Henry gives Sophie about Emma doesn't ring true, and Sophie vows to make her father pay. Callum, on the other hand, had a hard time dealing with Phoebe's death and the fact that the Huntleys received no punishment for the part they played in her murder. Fortunately for him, Sophie gave him information that could make the powerful family accountable for their actions. As Callum figures out a way that could help bring down the Huntleys, Sophie is betrayed by someone she shouldn't have trusted in the final scenes of the hit thriller. Who took James and why in Surface Season 2 Episode 6 ending? James owed someone money. Sophie and James sitting on a bench. The closing scenes in Surface Season 2, Episode 6, show James being kidnapped by two strangers. In the previous episode of Surface Season 2, James stole the password to Sophie's safe even though she had given him the money plus extra to pay the people he owed. Prior to the two men kidnapping him, James used the password to access Sophie's safe and stole her cryptocurrency thumb drive. However, he was forcibly taken before it was revealed if he had a chance to transfer the money to his account. James being kidnapped is the biggest twist in Surface Season 2, Episode 6 because it's unclear who might be behind it. Sophie's ex-husband had told her that he owed some dangerous people money, so they could be the ones who kidnapped him. However, something about that doesn't quite add up, since Sophie had given him the money to pay them. Either James lied about owing the money or he wasn't honest about how much he was supposed to pay back. Quinn might also be the one who had James kidnapped. Since he had his people look into him, Quinn might have discovered that James was married to Sophie and that he had slept with Grace. However, the episode concludes without giving any insight into who James angered enough that he got kidnapped or where exactly he was being taken. What Eliza's discovery about the abandoned car means for Sophie. Eliza holds the clue about what happened to Emma. From the time Sophie began looking into her mother's death after she returned to England in the first episode of Surface Season 2, she's had a difficult time finding any concrete evidence that would implicate Henry or William Huntley. The one clue she had was the coordinates that led her to the forest at the Huntley estate. While there, she tracked the exact location she was looking for, only to find a dead old car there. Although Sophie doesn't know who the car belonged to, Eliza does. While Eliza was talking to her mother about the situation with Sophie, she discovered that her father had bought Emma a car. It turns out, Eliza has a picture of the same car in her house. However, she doesn't really know why the car was abandoned or why it was at the Huntley estate. The car could be the key to Sophie knowing what happened to Emma, but since the two friends are not talking, it remains to be seen if Eliza will tell Sophie about the clue she found. Why Sophie gives the recording of Henry to Callum. Sophie wants to avenge her mother. Callum looking at Sophie. After Sophie's mother died, Henry sent her to an orphanage and gave her a new identity so that she wouldn't be able to find out that she was a Huntley. When she confronts Henry about abandoning her and trying to buy her off, he tells her that Emma died in a car accident at the Huntley estate. But Sophie doesn't believe him, especially because he didn't try to find her or let her be a part of his family. It turns out that during their conversation, Sophie recorded him admitting that he was her father. Since she's convinced that there's more to what happened to her mother than what Henry says, she gives the recording to Callum, provided that he will keep her name out of the article he plans on writing to expose the Huntleys. Sophie wants to get back at Henry for what he did to her and Emma, but it might be harder than she thinks, given how powerful her father is. The next episodes of Surface Season 2 will likely see her trying to punish Henry and facing obstacles to her goal.